Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to join us. We're excited to dive into this topic that is top of mind for many organizations around the globe today, and that is FinOps and how to effectively reduce your cloud spend. So for those that don't know me, my name is Paul Malabar. I'm pleased to help moderate the session today. I'm even more delighted to be joined by an exceptional panel of experts. So with me, we have Desmond Chan. He's our Chief Product Officer and co-founder of Aquila Clouds. We have Facundo Tomaselli. He's our CTO here at Motivus. And we've got Nico Tocasio, who's our VP for Cloud and Security Offerings. Today, we'll explore the business challenges that many organizations are facing in managing cloud costs and how the combination of the Motivus services coupled with the Aquila Cloud single pane of glass platform can not only provide you with your deep visibility into cloud application infrastructure spend, but also a scalable and sustainable way to manage your cost control going forward. As I mentioned, we are recording this session and all materials will be made available, including the webinar recording on motivus.com. But I will make sure I send you all a personalized email with the links to the documentation and slides after the event. So with that, in today's session, what we will cover is the following. We'll do a brief introduction to the overall kind of term, what is FinOps, which will also include a short demo of the Aquila Clouds platform to give you real insight into what level of visibility you can now gain through their single pane of glass platform. Facundo will then hand over and talk through how is Motivus supporting clients on their FinOps journey today. And then finally, Nico will give a short overview of how clients can get on their first step of the journey. And again, I will emphasize this is a journey. Some clients will be different stages, just like their AI journey or what it may be, but we'll help you get started. And at the end, we'll have a short Q&A from the audience and so on, together with an outline of the offer that we've got for everybody that's joined the session today. So to kick things off, Desmond, if I can hand over to you, and if you can kindly provide an overview of FinOps and share how AI is reshaping and transforming the space with your platform, please.
Certainly. Thank you so much, Paul, for having me here. So now let's just set the context. What is FinOps? According to FinOps Foundation, FinOps is an operational framework and cultural practice which maximizes the business value of cloud and technology, enables timely data-driven decision-making, and creates financial accountability through collaboration between engineering, finance, and business teams. So next slide, please. So it boils down to five core cloud management challenges: observability, optimization, governance, collaboration, and usage-based billing, or like usage-based chargeback and so on. So with observability, you need to be able to look at all of the cloud data across like different public clouds, private clouds, and then and also different workloads. Like remember in the definition, we say, hey, the business value of cloud and technology is not just cloud, but everything that that you have in your possession. So and then like, how do you get faster insight? Like just going through dashboards and so on. It may not be the best way for you to get all the insights that you want. But hey, how do we leverage agentic AI in your environment to make sure that you have the faster time to insight? So now, like let's look at the more on the business value of your investments, right? Optimization is definitely part of it. You can of course I make a lot more make a profit and then like but. What I mean is like you can make a lot of revenue, but then your profit is actually a formula involving your revenue and your expenses. And if you can lower the expenses, of course, like the more business value that you can have. So how do you optimize all of the cloud resources or like your investment on-prem and so on and so forth? All of these need to be looked at in a continuous fashion, and it cannot be like, hey, like you do it once in a blue moon, and then you come back to it when you feel like it has to be a continuous practice. And coming to like like uh, uh collaboration, or like actually like I should say like operational framework, right? Hey, like when you operate your cloud, you want to have a framework to go with. You want to have some governance on your budget. For each of the cost centers, you want to be notified when there is any anomaly in your cloud cost, or like, hey, in order to allocate the cost properly, using tags, you need to make sure that the tags are all applied perfectly. And yeah, and these can be like very much a headache for a lot of these cloud ops people. And then like, hey, like of course, like we want to maximize the business value as we talked about, and then we would buy some reservation plans, savings plans, like commitment plans in general. But that that gives you more discount, but at the same time it gives you some more risk, because like you're bearing the risk of not consuming as much as you have committed. And then like how do you make sure that your investment in all those commitment plans are well utilized? Like that is also another challenge. And then also in the definition, it has like collaboration between different teams, engineering, finance, business teams, like you name it. And how do you make sure that all these teams are working together, using the same data, looking at the same reports in a timely manner, right? The um, the challenge here, before FinOps, for cloud cost management was like, you would only get your monthly bills from the public cloud vendors, and by the end of the month. And by that time, it's already too late. And how do you get real-time feedback? How do you get like real-time notifications? And that is something that is very key here. And then like, how do you make sure that you can make real-time decisions? So collaboration, real-time decision making is also key here. And usage-based billing, like, hey, think about you when you have like all these cost centers that you want to allocate the cost to, and and do chargeback, or like, hey, like you might actually have a business model where you have a like where you need to attribute the cost back, back to the customers, and then maybe you do a cost plus kind of a business model or something, right? You need to know how much each customer is costing you on your cloud infrastructure, on your like Kubernetes, and so on and so forth. How do you do that? You need to have a way to automatically do it. Otherwise, it will not be efficient, and then you'll be burning a lot of OpEx there. And not to talk about that, hey, like maybe you do not want to charge the same price as the public clouds would charge your end customer, or like your internal customers. Like you might want to do some pricing optimization, pricing customization. How do you do that, right? And so like here comes our solution. Please, next slide, please. So, Aquila Clouds, we provide a very much a holistic cloud financial management platform, and we have FinOps and BillOps, and overall, we call this a Andromeda Fin AI platform. And what do we mean by that, right? We are taking a AI first approach. So just like Paul was mentioning, how is AI revolutionizing the space of FinOps? Like now, like we are heavily working on the agentic AI solutions from different aspects, and you will see, our first Agent Sherlock today. How does it allow you to talk to your data and get timely insights, and graphs, and data however way that you want, without having to go through the dashboards. And then like these agents can actually feed off of each other, create a feedback loop so that they can grow as a whole. So like we imagine that all these agents can act as stars in a galaxy, so we make the galaxy more um, beautiful and then more comprehensive and and more useful to our customers. So, and then like FinOps is definitely like, the product actually caters to the FinOps functionalities, like we talked about, the five challenges there. And then BillOps is our customizable billing engine or like customizable pricing engine if you need to, have a customized product catalog, and with your own pricing in it. And all of these, like actually, are well recognized by an analyst firm called Everest Group. And as you can see on the left of this slide, that we are recognized as a leader in the FinOps cloud cost management products in 2025. And this is a great honor. And then, we're placed as a leader next to the giants in this space. So I hope that tells you, how well we are in organizing our capabilities and, and having a vision going forward as well. Okay, next slide, please. Want to give you a perspective from our customers. So Sonoma Bio is a biotech company, and then they have an IT team that is leveraging much of the cloud, right? And then if you see from the quote, like they are expanding from AWS to Azure, and then now with us, they do not need to even change their tool. Because like we cover multi-cloud, we cover AWS, Azure, GCP, Oracle, and for private cloud, we cover VMware, and there is a roadmap item to address a OpenStack and OpenShift as well. So like we want to be very much like data source agnostic, so that you can use a single platform for anything FinOps. And sorry, I want to go back to one point there. And then there is a savings, 50% savings that we identify for them from our recommendations, from day one. Actually, at day one, like we actually identify more than 80%, but we didn't want to set that expectation because that is something that is unique to some organizations because they just haven't paid attention and so on. But we definitely actually realized 50% of savings for them in the first 3 months. Okay, so yeah, hopefully that gives you some more perspective on how customers can gain from this. And sorry, like maybe one more thing, like we talked about like operational framework as well, and our tool also gives gives them an operational framework where they can exchange reports, and then like different stakeholders can just log into our portal and then like figure out what they need to do in terms of recommendation, and there's a self-service model there as well. So like we are pretty much like streamlining all of your operations in terms of like cloud cost management and optimization. Okay, next slide, please. All right. So in terms of the demo, I will show you the multi-cloud and hybrid cloud observability. I will show you, our agentic solution and agentic AI solution, and then our advanced, cost and billing analysis across different workloads, infrastructure, PaaS, SaaS as well. And then I'll go into like some more business analysis and optimization as well. So let me just switch to my screen so that we don't dwell on just slide where I want to show you the real product here. So give me one sec while I switch my screen here. So hopefully you can see my screen so far.
Yes, it's showing.
Perfect. Okay. So let me see. Okay. So what you're seeing right here is our agent Sherlock. So basically you log into our platform, and then you see that, hey, like there's a way for you to navigate to agent Sherlock here. So basically you see a chat interface. I have already entered a prompt that asks it to show me the top 10 cost centers, if you will. Like, we call it the financial domains, and and it comes back with a a table with the top 10 financial domains or the cost centers with the most cost. And in this table, you can actually filter and do all sorts of things and and sorts as well. And then hey, you have a graph that breaks down the financial domain into how much you are paying, how much do we actually forecast that you would pay by the end of the month, and then what is your budget, so you can see these are data working hand in hand. And then let me just give me 1 sec. I want to just sorry. I want to just enter another prompt here. So this prompt is going to show you the cloud spends divided by the different cloud providers. So you will see that hey, we have AWS, Azure, and GCP deployed and onboarded onto our tool here. So we'll let it think for a little bit. This is a demo deployment with a not much horsepower, so just bear with us. I think that it's already done here. So hey, here's the breakdown of our cloud spending by provider, AWS, Azure, GCP, and then we separated the EA from from the general Azure account as well. So and then you see the distribution here. So definitely, when we have more clouds or more virtualization technologies coming into the mix, it will show all of them here as well. And now, with the observability, let's look at the optimization part as well. So let's look at the storage part. Hey, we want to take a look at the list of unattached storage volumes, and then what are the associated potential savings per month. So and just as a preview, we actually do from the on the infrastructure side, we do optimization on compute, storage, network, and also on the PaaS side, we do a database optimization. We do Kubernetes. We're showing we can slice and dice the data on for Kubernetes and Databricks as well, and then an LLM, and there are multiple optimization that we do here. So yeah, I'll go into more details. So here, you can see that we have the unattached storage volumes listed here, and then we have the reason here, for example, hey, the volume has been unattached for 30 plus days, and so on and so forth. And in some cases, we would tell you that hey, this volume was orphaned because the corresponding VM was decommissioned, and then somehow this volume still gets still remains, and then needs to be cleaned up, and so on. So this is one of the storage related recommendation that we do. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a good idea about how Agent Sherlock can work for you, and you can see that hey, without any context about our product, you can already come in and just type in human readable prompts, and then you can get the data, and then the graphs in a visual way that you desire. Okay, with that, let's talk about how we organize the data as well. So on the left, you see that we have what we call the financial domains. That's the first concept that I introduced. And basically, you can think about financial domains as a way to group the cost items according to a certain criteria. And then basically the use case is that hey, maybe you have different cost centers. You want to allocate the cost according to the tag that is assigned to a certain cost item, a certain resource. You can do that, or if you want to assign a certain account, AWS accounts cost to a certain cost center, you can do that. There are many different ways that you can slice and dice the data. And here, like, we have like different views as well, right? Like, like can have like multiple hierarchies to represent your different breakdown of the cost. So like, this is the one view called master view, or like, like we can have oh, maybe I should just come into here. Like, let me, this might be easier to explain. So like in the application view here, like we have the cloud ops team, the DevOps team, the engineering team, the different projects and so on. So like, you can just say construct all of these hierarchy in a way that fits your organizational units. Then, we can just say, use these to uh, to make sure that we can show you the cost for each cost center properly. And and then like within each cost center, like of course it's a hierarchy, right? Like you can use our cost analysis page to find out the cost drivers, right? You can see that, hey, like between April and May, we have a the cost has uh, risen for like 10.2%. And then you want to know, hey, like what actually attributed to that, to all of that cost. You can break down the cost by different tags or like, subdomains, cloud providers, or like maybe like, let's look at the services, right? Like so that oh, which cloud service is costing you the most money, right? You can sort, in each column, you can just see which one is the most cost driver as well. So you have all the data here. And yeah, so like, and you can like fine tune any of these, these parameters and so on for your deeper analysis. And this cost analysis actually goes with a Kubernetes. We have one page that is like designated to like Kubernetes cost. You can like filter by, for example, like namespaces. Here, like you can just look at the different namespaces and then and just filter them out. Or like you can actually do the go to data the Databricks page, and then like and also hey, like like you can have like different dimensions here, like the Databricks specific dimensions, like for example, like workspaces, jobs, and so on and so forth. So like this actually creates quite a lot of uh, 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 levers for you to look at your data. And last but not least, I want to show uh, the LLM part, the cost analysis for LLM. And AI is definitely revolutionizing everything here, right? Agentic AI, a lot of the companies, they are using LLMs to advance or like to actually increase their competitive and advantages. But agentic AI can be cost prohibitive for many of the organizations if they don't pay attention to how they use those LLMs. So here, like we have connected to OpenAI, and then like downloaded all the cost data plus like the token data and so on and so forth. So like, hey, like you can we only have like model user project accounts here, but these are all like like as we move forward, like as we find out more of the dimensions that the customers we would be interested in, we can add all those and trace all those. But like now, like let's say that you want to look at, hey, like what is the cost by different users, of my OpenAI usage. Then like, hey, we have like all of these like different users, and then like the cost being broken down by each of these users by month, and then you can change, of course, the time granularity here as well. So like, hey, like we're not just using AI for exposing more of the insights to our customers. We're also helping our customers get more in the know for their like LLM cost, and then in the future, we will provide optimization there as well. Okay. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of like, our observability capabilities, and there are a lot more that I haven't even shown yet. And now let's talk about the business analysis, because we want to drive business values. And like when we think about business values, like one thing is like, hey, how do you get are you getting return on your investment in the cloud? right? So here, like we are connecting the revenue data with our expense data, and customers can upload their revenue data here so that they can figure out, oh yeah, for a certain month, am I making a profit, or like or is it a deficit for me? Like, and we can, we show them all these graphs, and then like, we show them, hey, like, what is your net profit here, right? Or like, here as well. But hey, there are a few instances where you have expenses more than your revenue in certain months. So like, something to look out for. And we will keep on enhancing this capability so that we can definitely drive business values a lot better on your behalf as well. Okay, and then like in terms of your investment into in the commitment plans, yeah, like like the procurement team or like the finance team, they like they gather all the data from the cloud ops team, and they're like, okay, I think we should buy this reservation plan or that savings plan. But at the end of the day, like if you buy something and you don't use it, it's just sitting there being wasted. So basically, like what we show you here is that for each of the reservation plans and savings plans, like, how much are they being utilized? If you see like, something that is like, way low, then that is a flag that, maybe, you should look at it. And then like, for some cases, reservation plans, for AWS, for example, can be sold back into the marketplace. So like there is something to consider there as well. Yep.
So I think what you can see here from what Desmond's sharing is that the key thing here that I want people to walk away is, regardless of your technology stack, whether it's in Google Cloud, AWS, Oracle, what it may be, we have the ability through this platform to give you a single pane of glass, single viewpoint from various different dimensions of data, in order for you to really grasp hold of your entire cloud expend, and really from that just drive database decisions in order to drive much more control going forward. So, I think there's, as we continue to nurture this and build out the platform, I think there'll be much more kind of capability going forward. Love the agentic AI pieces and so on. So brilliant, Desmond. Thank you very much. So
Thank you.
So with that, Faku, can I hand over to you, please? And can you help us understand, how are we taking customers on the journey of FinOps, and how do we engage with these enterprises today? And actually, if you
so actually, there you go. If you can bring that live. Basically, team, what I'm going to be talking about here is we have seen the platform, right? You see how powerful it is, that it can give you information across all your entire stack, from LLM usage to Kubernetes to containers to traditional cloud services. But what we see on companies today, on our clients, where we are doing modernization or software engineering for them, is that they are not struggling with cloud technology itself, but they are struggling with cloud financial clarity, okay? Clients have already made a decision. Some of them are in multi-cloud, some of them are in hybrid cloud, some of them even stay on-prem, but they apply some kind of private cloud technology so that it can be consumed cloud-like, like in a private cloud phase, right? But what we see in most of the enterprise is that the pattern repeats, right? There are visibility gaps, there are cost overruns, and the problem with the governance model is that, as Desmond mentioned, it usually comes after the invoice arrives, right? So basically, you don't have predictability of how your cloud spend will be. And even if you have some predictability on what the number will be, there's a lot of lag into understanding who is the actual owner of the cloud expenditure that you are using today, right? So key concepts here: lack of cost visibility. These are numbers from the FinOps Foundation. 64% of the organizations that don't have full understanding of what the cloud spend is going. Financial ownerships. And this is not that the team doesn't care, right? It's actually that the cloud is decentralized. So you have different teams, different projects, spanning things independently. And without the FinOps culture, right? This is what this is all about. Without the FinOps culture, the cost becomes a byproduct and not a design decision. So of course, you need a powerful platform. Of course, you need some guidance from a FinOps consultant or a FinOps engineer to make sure that you start driving this culture. But actually, the only way FinOps will work is if you can make it part of the culture of your development teams, of your product owners, and everybody that is driving business out of it. So The good part is that there are benefits, right? There are quick benefits once you transition from the culture that you have today into a FinOps culture. The typical ones, and Nico will go into a little bit more details, are what we call the quick wins, right? Quick wins are easily identifiable when we run an assessment with our engineers and Aquila Cloud platforms. Those normally are what is called right sizing, orphan resources, resources that are actually used at a very low percentage or maybe not used overnight. So, and the saving here is not about those quick wins, which maybe won't be that relevant, but it's more about the narrative of success, right? When the teams start seeing that the cloud expenditures goes down, or that actually what they were using for the application or whatever system they are using is actually now consuming 25% or 30% less of the cloud spend that they were using before, now you have a good story to tell, right? And you start driving this culture of FinOps, right? I take care of the cloud that I spend, and I really understand the cost to the value that I provide to my clients. So the second pillar is visibility, right? Every stakeholder today, normally, because they don't have the right approach, they don't have the culture, they don't have the platform and the consultant advice, they don't have the information to make good decisions, right? So they will just spin up things around the public cloud without proper planning and without considering that part of the design decision, just considering that part of the real estate of having a product, a digital product, right? And the third one is the governance. And the governance is super relevant because it's the only way in which you can make sure that the cloud spend becomes predictable, right? You can have the quick wins, you can have a few teams that know how to do it, but if you don't have proper governance in place, this will eventually go out of control very, very, very quickly, right? That's where actually we partner very well with Aquila, basically because we've been doing bespoke software engineer, bespoke software development for over 2 decades now with clients in multiple industries. And our industry expertise, our consultants, our engineers and developers paired with a super powerful tool of Aquila Clouds help us gain real value and real benefits to the client in a short term of time. Okay, so if we move on to the next one, Ashley, please. Okay, so how we operationalize this with our clients and actually also with some prospects, right? So you will see 4 phases here, with necessarily not all clients will go through them, and Nico will go into a little bit more detail on each of them. But the first one is the assessment, right? The assessment is normally between 3 to 5 weeks, depending on the complexity of the environment or the business units or the areas that want to be tackled. But this is basically running a rapid assessment using Aquila Cloud platforms and our engineer analysis to actually understand the baseline, quantify the opportunity, and identify the quick wins, as I mentioned before, right? So the assessment will have some ROI, but as I mentioned before, the biggest impact is going to be on the narrative of success, okay? This product now has visibility onto their cloud expenditure and have actually reduced their cloud expenditure. So now that we did it here, let's go and do it over there, right? So that's the key part of the assessment. Then comes the remediation, and the remediation is actually when their first savings actually materialize, right? So we have the assessment, we know what's happening, we have some visibility, then we start doing remediation. Remediation will vary from client to client, right? Of course, you always start with the things that are like the low-hanging fruits, the one that you know you can operationalize faster. But if you are a true consultant to your client and you understand the application journey of your client, you can actually have much more advanced advices into how to do remediation and drive cloud cost spend faster. The third one is the FinOps as a service offering. And the FinOps as a service is actually when this value becomes ongoing, right? That's when you apply continuous monitoring, when you have monthly optimizations, when you actually have alerting set in place. So it's not only I have visibility and I reduce my cloud costs, but now it's part of my continuous operation, of course, making sure that I don't go back to the same problem again very, very fast. And the last one, which of course not all clients needs to go through that, is the modernization. And what we mean by modernization is basically the bread and butter of what we do at Motivus, right? Doing legacy modernization and software development, is that in some cases, the biggest savings will not come from tweaking the current architecture, but actually from evolving the architecture that you have, right? So maybe you do containers, you move to serverless, you need to apply some storage strategies for automation pipelines. So that's part of a deeper conversation that we can have with the clients, being a company that has been doing software development for over 2 decades, right? And that's where we pair strategically with Aquila Clouds as the tool. So again, and as a wrap up of this slide, it's a full life cycle. The plan is designed to be able to deliver immediate ROI and long-term ROI. Moving to the next one. Okay, last slide, team, and then I will pass to Nico to go a little bit deeper into how we actually make this happen. This is more informational. This actually, you can go to FinOps.org, the FinOps Foundation. This is the traditional phases of the FinOps framework: inform, optimize, and operate. Why we're showing this? Because to anyone that you talk about FinOps, this is the way that any company that is doing FinOps for serious, right, should build their offerings and their tools around, right? This is basically the standard or the mantra of how FinOps works as a standard global framework, right? And what this basically means is that not every organization is on the same level of maturity. So that's why it's very important that you actually understand these phases of FinOps, and that you also understand that even teams within the same organization may be working at different phases at any time. So what are the phases? Very quickly. The first one is inform, right? This is tied to visibility and allocation. It's basically the foundation. This is a mechanism that will enable accountability. Now you, the product owner of this application or the business owner of this system or whatever, you now know that you are accountable for the spend, okay? And that's when Nico most likely will talk about show back, charge back, and some strategies that once you go through the informed phase, you actually can start applying. Then you have the optimized, right? With similar to what I was saying before, it's actually when you start seeing the real savings, right? You see monthly savings and you actually start optimizing at different levels, from a full modernization to just shutting down an orphan resource. And then the last one is operate, right? Which is tied to our FinOps as a service offering, which is basically when FinOps become systemic. So it's part of your system, the way you think and design applications, and the way your IT group is consuming cloud resources. Okay, so I think the most important message here before I pass it on to Nico is that all the quick actions that you can take on a regular cadence actually help the teams avoid the analysis paralysis of having to optimize complex cloud environment. So starting small, growing the size and scope is actually the key recipe to make sure that you have a successful FinOps implementation and a successful FinOps culture within the team. Okay, so that's all on my side, team. Now that you've seen the life cycle, the natural question, I think, is where do we as an organization begin, right? What are the first steps? And that's exactly what Nico is going to be covering.
Thank you, Facu, for providing not just the content, but also the initial concepts and some insight, right, about our remediation service. But before we jump into these 4 pillars of our remediation framework, I want to start with something really important. Every client environment is different, right? We need to have these different cloud providers, different teams, different levels of FinOps maturity, as you mentioned, Facu, and also different business priority. This is pretty relevant. Because of that, the first step in our approach is always an assessment. This assessment helps us to understand 3 main things: what resources the client is using today, how optimized those resources are, and finally, how mature their current FinOps practices are. Because some clients already have dashboards, right, tagging, or even the governance framework in place. Others are just starting almost from zero. So we adjust our remediation plan based on what we find. Moving to the pillars, the first one is quick wins. These are actions that we can take very early to reduce costs fast without long projects or big changes to the environment. Typical examples include stopping idle VMs or servers that nobody's using, so those ones that are abandoned, right, within the environment, right-sizing machines that are too large. This is like the Ferrari example, when you realize that you maybe bought a Ferrari, but you are driving in a road that cannot exceed like 20 miles limit, right? Cleaning up unused storage, snapshot, or even all these. And finally, removing orphan resources also identified as zombie resources, that are still running but not connected to anything. So quick wins usually deliver savings in the first days or weeks. So they also give the client confidence that the process works. Basically, the wheel is rolling. The second pillar is what we call structural fixes. These are not fast as quick wins, but they have bigger long-term impact. And here is where we start combining short-term with long-term impact, right? Because structural fixes include setting proper scheduling for non-production environment, implementing reservations or licensing models to reduce compute costs, and then having a tool like Aquila and also one of the dashboard that Desmond shared actually points to the reservation cost that you already may have. Then structural fixes also include improving tagging, so resources can be tracked and allocated correctly. This is another key piece. Establishing the governance processes and using saving plans or commitment model smartly. The idea is to build a more stable and efficient cloud environment, not just reduce costs for 1 month. Jumping to the third one is sustainability. This is about making sure the improvements don't disappear after 6 months. Here we focus on creating policies that define how teams should deploy and manage resources, building dashboards so everyone has visibility of kiosk usage, and establishing continuous monitoring across cloud and on-prem environment. Sustainability means transforming cloud operations into a daily habit, not only time cleaning exercise. And this is key to demonstrate and to start practicing a couple of key concepts that Facu also mentioned, like showback and chartback, that I will cover in the next slide. Finally, the fourth pillar is automation. Automation helps keep the environment optimized with minimal manual effort. We are moving like to the next level of remediation, right? So some examples are automatic cost alerts, auto-scaling rules that adapt to the real demand that you may have, integrated FinOps without CI/CD pipelines, so also enable best practices from the software delivery lifecycle, and enabling chargeback and showback, so each team understands the cost of their workloads. So this is basically the concept that I was referring previously. Automation closes the loop, right? It makes the remediation continuous and predictable, and even easy for those one that administer the environment. So this happens even as the environment grows. So these four pillars, quick wins, structural fixes, sustainability, and automation, are the foundation of our remediation framework. We don't apply them in isolation, right? We combine them depending on each client's maturity and especially priorities. The goal is always the same: build a cloud environment that is efficient, well-governed, and financially healthy. So if we can move to the next slide, please. We will jump into continuous cost optimization and modernization. After the assessment and remediation phases, the next step is turning FinOps into an ongoing operational practice. This is what allows savings to continue month after month instead of being a one-time improvement. Let me quick walk through the key pillars of these services. Continuous FinOps service. This is not one-time health check. And again, it could sound something that is repeatable over the time, but this is key. This should be an ongoing practice, right? One better FinOps engineer who work inside your environment in a recurring basis, monitoring spend, validating anomalies, and executing improvement continuously. How we do this? Having a flexible commercial model. Every client has a different environment and level of maturity. And because of that, we can adjust the service to the actual needs, part-time, full-time, single cloud, multi-cloud, whatever is your fit, your reality. Again, how we can do this? Just to mention an example, having a dedicated team. If we are talking about a medium or even a large enterprise, this could be a good option, right? Because you can get a committed FinOps squad that knows your architecture, your consumption patterns, and also your internal processes. This, again, should be aligned with your business priorities. So this avoids basically generic recommendation, and speed up the execution. Another important pillar here, hybrid coverage. We support multi-cloud, right? AWS, Azure, GCP, and others, cloud service providers, but also on-prem environments. VMware as an example, SAN and NAS environment, and for sure, Kubernetes. This gives you a full view of your total infrastructure and not just cloud spend, right? Not only it's about cloud billing, it's having control of your entire infrastructure. The main goals are simple: reduce recurring cost, automate guardrails, and free budget for innovation. This keeps your environment healthy and cost efficient over time. And we say free budget for innovation. Let's talk about modernization, right? Because cost optimization opens the door for modernization. Once we reduce waste and stabilize spending, we can help teams reinvest those savings into modernization initiatives, whatever that's refactoring, containerization, automation, or even improving observability. So optimization becomes the foundation for a long-term transformation. Overall, continued cost optimization transforms FinOps into a constant hand-on operational function, driving savings, improving governance, and enabling modernization. So team, let me hand over to Paul, who will share a message with the audience. Thank you very much.
So fantastic. Thanks, Nico, Facu, Desmond. So I think the, as I mentioned, just like any journey, we can meet you where you are. Many clients in the past several years, it's been a sprint to exit from on-prem data centers into the cloud. Some clients have obviously been running the cloud for many, many years, et cetera, et cetera. So depending on, where you are on your journey, our commitment to you is we'll meet you at your point and we can support you on your journey to either improve, mature, and grow together. So with that, if we can move to the next slide, Ashley, please. So basically, what we wanted to offer to everybody who's kindly joined the webinar this afternoon is we're willing to partner with you to help do a free 2-week assessment where for you, your client, we can do a high-level discovery, gather some data using the Aquila Clouds platform, and demonstrate an ROI that can be delivered. So again, this is driving mindshare with clients, helping ultimately drive optimization and driving insights and what is the art of the possible in terms of insights into cloud spend and cloud management as an ongoing basis. So I will reach out to you all personally. I would love, please do take us up on this offer. We would love to help you or one of your clients on their journey. So that is out there for everybody to take advantage of. So with that, let me just wrap up with a quick Q&A. As I said, what I want you to take away from here is, Motivus brings to the table the various different offerings that we talked about, from assessments all the way through to modernization. And again, depending where you are, if you've already got assessment, we can start the remediation or help you with FinOps as an ongoing practice. With the Aquila Clouds platform, we give you the insights, the data, and everything that you can really control your cloud spend on an ongoing basis. And this becomes foundational to how you run your IT infrastructure, your IT operations on an ongoing basis. So with that, let me just open up to the audience first of all. Are there any questions that anybody's got that you would like to ask the panel here? Anything top of mind? Mr. Juan Crespo.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Juan Crespo. I'm from Argentina. I'm working in a company that our approximately 70% is running in an Azure cloud environment. So I have a couple of questions, so not sure if you can answer, but basically my concern is a combined question. First of all, I would like to know if, based in your experience, right, in the customers that I mean, I imagine you already implemented this, how quickly can FinOps deliver a ROI, for example? And the second question is, what is the difference, for example, between Aquila Clouds and other tools that I have some familiarity, for example, like Cloudability or Flexera?
Okay, shall I take the
think
question? Yeah, yeah. Paco, please,
Yeah,
and then
can
I will follow.
Yeah, I will take the first part and I leave you the
Yeah.
the product comparison question for you for sure. So in
Sounds-
terms of ROI, and of course, Desmond, feel free to complement. So Juan, typically within the first 30 to 60 days, you can actually start seeing an ROI. As the three of us mentioned, you have the quick wins, or there are some immediate ROIs when you do right sizing, you stop either resources, you clean up your storage, you apply some saving plans. Of course, with the counterpart of the risk that Desmond already mentioned. Of course, the structural and sustainable savings, that will follow maybe 60 to 90 days. And of course, you want to make sure that you continue doing this, right? So it's not a one-time saving, but it's actually a continuous saving. So the ROI is pretty short term, if you want to call it that way. I don't know, Desmond, if you want to add anything to that. And of course, the second part of the question, I'll leave that to you.
Okay, yeah, maybe I'll just take on the second part of the question. So Aquila Clouds, we have been in the space for 6 years already, and then we have been competing with a lot of relevant vendors as well. The where we shine, and then we tend to be able to beat the other competitors in several ways. One is that now we are very much AI focused. The AI first approach. You saw our agentic AI solution. You saw that, hey, we're helping our customers solve their FinOps problems with their LLM usage. And the other workloads like Kubernetes, Databricks. We're also going to work on Snowflake and so on. You do not see any product out there that can be as comprehensive as what we do. You see just discrete spaces that they're in. Some may be more infrastructure based. Some may be more Kubernetes based, and so on and so forth. And then maybe there is a large company that would actually put all of the different disparate tools into one portfolio, and then you have to buy all of those separately. That becomes very expensive. So you have with us, you have one-stop shop where you can cater to all of the FinOps needs across different clouds, and then on-prem and different technologies as well. And no one else can do that at this point.
And I think just to build on that finally, we'll take one more question, is that as I've been engaging with clients myself, it's rare that we come across a client that's solely just 100% in Azure or 100% in Google and so on. More and more, we're seeing a proliferated landscape for which, rather than your teams require the AWS platform, the Google platform, the Oracle platform, and so on, the Aquila Clouds platform is giving you that one single pane of glass that can harmonize and give you the view across all your different environments. And that, for me, in terms of the messaging that resonates with clients, is a key differentiator for us together. Okay, so we got probably time. I'm swearing time here, but probably got time for one more question. Is anybody else got a question that they would like to ask the panel here? If not, we can wrap up and give people a couple minutes back.
And if you allow me, I have one more.
Okay, one more.
So thanks for the answer, very clear. So obviously for confidential item, I cannot provide exactly amount of money that we are spending in Azure, but we are a company that normally spend an average of $100. So my question is, in order to apply these kind of technologies, you recently explained it I don't remember exactly the name, but you mentioned something about remediation and assessment, if I'm not wrong. So do we need to be a large company to apply these kind of technologies, or an amount of money that we are spending is enough to see real values, right? So I need to go to my director and see if there is an opportunity or not based in our expenditures. So do we need to spend a lot of money, many money, or with this amount of money and research, do you think could be suitable?
Nico, do you want to quickly take that?
Yeah, sure. I can take this one. So thank you, Juan, for your question. The as I share with the message, right, of one of our pillars, every client environment is different, and that means you will have different amount of money that it's around your consumption. So you don't need to spend $1 million, right, to in a monthly basis to start doing this savings. So this can start from a small level of consumption, right, and for sure you will have different results there, right? And especially how mature you are in regards not just on the adoption, but also related to your infrastructure. So short answer to your question, Juan, yeah, it's not need to actually need to have a big spend, right, on the cloud infrastructure. This can start for even a small amount of money.
Thanks, Nico. Well, I'm hoping that I didn't schedule. I hope I didn't schedule this in a way that the teams closes off at 3 in 1 minute. I see Jose Luis, you've got your hand up. Feel free to ask your question.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Tim. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, based on what you have been talking about, is there a step or part of the process of implementing this kind of tool that provide us as a customers a kind of let's say baseline in which I can determine what will be the equilibrium point regarding the investment that I'm going to do in this kind of tools versus the amount of expenditure that I have in a certain cloud, for example? Just linking with the previous questions, determining if I'm going to invest money in a tool that will help me to follow up my FinOps expenditure, what could be that process that helped me to determine, yes, because I'm going to, let's say, just to say an idea, I'm going to recover my investment in the tool in 12 months, in 2 years, in whatever. For me to make sense to invest in something, I need to know what will be the return of my investment based on the savings that potentially I could have, right? Besides the fact that obviously I will have more control, I will have more visibility, things like that. Those are, let's say, qualitative instead of quantitative, right?
I can give you a short answer in terms of the assessment, and definitely the team here can complement Jose Luis. So the assessment, and actually in this case we are offering a 2-week free assessment, is exactly to start having that visibility, right? So when we run the assessment, like using the tool and our engineering services, we actually get a first pane of glass, a first deliverable where we see, okay, these are the things that you will actually be saving. And if you project this, for example, in the next 12 months, this will automatically pay for a longer assessment or to actually implement the remediation phase for 1 or 2 months, right? Of course, when you get the result of the assessment, it will also give you information if it makes sense to actually have a team deploy, right? The example that Nico was sharing about having a FinOps squad can be maybe for large enterprises, where actually that team will be self-funded, right? Because of the slow time you will be saving will actually pay for that team, will free up space for innovation. So those are actually the type of deliverables that we produce when we deliver these assessments, right? But I don't know, Desmond or Nico, if you want to complement the answer.
Yeah, maybe I have one more thing to add. I think that in addition to the savings that are quite apparent on the in the assessment, there's also an insurance aspect of the using FinOps, using a tool or like having a team working with you, because a one-time spike that you haven't detected and let it run would actually just burn all of your budget. I've seen customers who all of a sudden like have like a spike in their like GCP a BigQuery as usage. And within a few days, they got like over $10,000 of expense, more than they expected. And in that case, we can notify you proactively. You can stop the bleeding right away. And that by itself, can probably be worth it. It's the same concept as having an insurance for any unexpected things as well.
Okay. And again, I think the other thing is we can obviously work with you to build your ROI with the cost of the platform, the tools, and so on and so forth. And I think you'll see on the grand scheme of things, the small investment on a monthly basis in terms of the tool set versus your ROI in terms of optimizing your cloud architecture is significantly in favor of moving in that direction. So we'd love to deep dive and discuss that further separately. So, okay, excellent. So I'm aware that we've overrun by a few minutes here. I would like to say just again, appreciation for everybody joining. Hopefully you'll find this useful. As I mentioned, I will send out a personal email to you all with the links to the document in the recording. And again, please do take us up on the free offer of a 2-week assessment to help you start your journey, start your assessment, and really start to help you mature your FinOps practices for your organizational clients. So please reach out to any of us. Look forward to hearing more. And again, thank you very much, panel, for joining, and thank you very much, clients, for listening this afternoon. Take care and goodbye.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye now.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.